We begin with breaking news tonight because the death toll from the pandemic continues to rise.
I am officially declaring a national emergency.
Tonight, the southern surge in the pandemic, deaths and hospitalizations rising in 4 states. One top public health official warning there are now several New Yorks. McDonald's latest.
Breaking news tonight, the growing calls for justice. Massive protests coast to coast, even more across the globe.
Quiet my soul, 'cause you're teaching me how to slow down. Surrender it all, let you take control.
Unfortunately, anxiety is extremely common among Christians. In spite of knowing that we're not supposed to feel it, many of us do. We need to know that we're not alone when we feel it. We may describe it as worry, stress, or being uptight. We may not even realize that what we are feeling is anxiety. So let's start with the basics of anxiety. The dictionary defines anxiety as, quote, a feeling of worry, nervousness, or unease, typically about an imminent event or something with an uncertain outcome. We often use other words for anxiety like nervousness, worried, tense, high-strung, wound tight, fearful, stressed, uneasy, feeling of angst, agitated, or concerned. When we talk about anxiety, we've got to talk about fear, because all anxiety is rooted in fear. God has given us the gift of being able to be afraid of things. Fear is a core emotion that often protects us and our families from harm and the unknown. The psychologist Rollo May states, quote, if you're walking across a highway and you see a car speeding toward you, your heart beats faster, you focus your eyes on the distance between the car and you, and how far you have to go to get to the safe side of the road, and then you hurry across. You felt fear, and it energized you to run to safety. When the car is passed, the fear goes away. Anxiety, on the other hand, is when you have all these same feelings, but there's no car. In other words, anxiety is a fear response in the absence of an actual threat or stimulus. Fear sees, hears, or smells a threat. Anxiety simply imagines those threats.
Pastor Timothy Keller uses this helpful comparison of fear and anxiety, and I quote, fear is a good thing. It's like a thunderstorm that comes through, and there's all this thunder and all this lightning, and then it passes. The sun comes out, and everything is greener. But anxiety is like a cold drizzle, 34 degrees and raining all the time. Eventually, your soul begins to mildew, unquote. Anxiety does something to us and our hearts that is destructive over time. It's like an acid to the soul, slowly eating away our inner sense of peace and joy and security. We begin to feel disconnected and vulnerable. To manage our anxiety, we start turning to things like food and sex and pornography, alcohol, religious activities, drugs, work, exercise, or anything else that we think might make us feel better.
As an important side note, we want to state something very strongly. There are varying degrees of anxiety. Some of us will need help from a trained professional. We may even need medication to help balance our body chemistry. We are not using what the Bible says to discount the value of other forms of treatment. But we genuinely believe that no matter what level of anxiety you may be experiencing, the tools and information we provide in these videos will help you manage your anxiety. That's why we developed them.
To be clear, the ability to feel fear is a good thing. Fear can serve us well at times. But God doesn't want us to live in fear, to make anxiety our home. Anxiety has many long-term effects. Remember, We said you and I were made for connection. Anything that threatens your ability to connect threatens you on a fundamental level. Anxiety is often a barrier to connection with others. It can isolate us from the heart and the comfort of God. So we go looking for answers to our pain and anxiety outside of Him. Again, we encourage you to send this video series to a family member or a trusted friend. And then after each video, discuss the questions found in the workbook. This video series will be of much more help to you if you slow down and process those questions and talk about them with others. Here are 2 of the questions for this lesson found in the workbook that we'd like you to think about before the next video. First, how is anxiety affecting your relationships? Secondly, when you're anxious or in emotional pain, which coping mechanism do you have a tendency to turn to? In the next video, we'll explore the general topic of our emotions and how to understand them. Until then.